weren't supposed to survive that mission. A T-8,000 feet over hostile territory, flying straight into anti-aircraft fire. The math said the aircraft would be shredded in seconds. Ballistics doesn't negotiate. A 23mm round doesn't care about bravery, training, or mission urgency, and yet the A-10 came home, shot through the wings. Hydraulics failing. One engine barely producing thrust. So here's the uncomfortable question. How do you engineer an aircraft that is expected to be hit and still fly? In 2003, over Iraq, an American A-10 Thunderbolt II returned to base with one engine destroyed, half a tail missing. Hydraulic systems gone and over 300 holes punched through its wings and fuselage. It landed anyway. On paper, that shouldn't be possible. Modern fighter jets are optimized for stealth, supersonic speed, and networked warfare. They are delicate in ways most people don't realize, built around tight tolerances, composite skins, and aerodynamics that punish asymmetry. The A-10, it flies slower than many World War II aircraft. It looks ugly, overbuilt, almost agricultural, and yet for nearly 50 years it has survived environments that would shred more advanced aircraft. So here's the engineering question. How do you design a jet that is expected to fly directly into gunfire and survive? Because close air support CAS is not glamorous, it's physics versus ballistics at low altitude, and physics is unforgiving. Part 1, the context. Why close air support is brutal. Visual, archival footage of Vietnam-era ground troops calling for air support. Close air support exists for one reason. When troops are pinned down, they need immediate firepower, precisely delivered, often within 100 meters of friendly forces. That means low altitude is low speed, high visibility. Repeated attack runs, in other words, the exact opposite of stealth doctrine. Visual comparison chart. F-22 typical engagement altitude versus A-10 engagement altitude. Where a jet like the F-22 Raptor fights at 40,000 feet, the A-10 often operates below 10,000, and that changes everything, because below 10,000 feet you enter the envelope of heavy machine guns, anti-aircraft artillerymen, portable air defense systems. This is the most dangerous altitude in modern warfare, and that's the environment the A-10 was designed for during the Cold War, specifically to counter Soviet armor pouring through the Fulda Gap. Part 2, the physics constraint. You cannot dodge ballistics. Let's start with first principles. A 23mm anti-aircraft round leaves the barrel at roughly 970 meters per second. At 2 kilometers distance, time to impact is about 2 seconds. That means even if you see the muzzle flash instantly, you cannot outmaneuver physics. Visual, simple ballistic trajectory diagram. The A-10 cannot rely on speed alone. Instead, engineers assumed something radical. It will get hit. That design assumption changes everything. Most aircraft are designed to avoid damage. The A-10 was designed to absorb it. Part 3, the hero weapon. The GAU-8 Avenger. Visual, slow motion footage of GAU-8 firing. The A-10 was built around one object, the GAU-8 Avenger 30mm rotary cannon. It weighs 1,800 kilograms with ammunition. The aircraft is essentially a gun with wings. Why 30mm? Because defeating Soviet tank armor required kinetic energy exceeding 200 kilojoules per round. Kinetic energy scales with mass and velocity. E equals mv can increase velocity, but drag rises exponentially. So engineers increased mass. Each depleted uranium round is heavy, extremely dense. Visual, periodic table. Highlight uranium density comparison. Uranium has a density of 19 GCM, nearly 2.5x that of steel. More density means more sectional density, better penetration. But there's a trade-off. The recoil force of the GAU-8 is approximately 45 kilonewtons. That's equivalent to the thrust of one engine, which means when the gun fires, the aircraft slows down. Engineers had to mount the cannon exactly along the aircraft's center line, if misaligned by even centimeters. Recoil torque would induce yaw instability. Visual, exploded CAD alignment of gun barrel with fuselage centerline. This isn't aesthetics. This is Newton's third law. Part for survivability by materials science. We reach the defining feature, the titanium bathtub. Visual, cutaway of cockpit armor. The cockpit is encased in 1,200 pounds of titanium armor. It protects the pilot from 23mm rounds. Why titanium? Because it offers high strength-to-weight ratio and excellent fracture toughness. Steel would be stronger per volume but too heavy. Aluminum would be lighter but too weak. Titanium is the compromise. Real engineering is compromise. Part 5, redundancy, the philosophy of what if it breaks. Most jets rely on hydraulic systems. Lose hydraulics, lose control. The A-10 has triple redundant systems and even a manual reversion mode. Visual, hydraulic system diagram splitting into 3 independent lines. Manual reversion means the pilot can physically control the aircraft using cables. It's heavier, less precise, but it works when fluid lines are severed, and they will be severed, because at low altitude you are in fragmentation range. Part 6, engine placement, a subtle masterpiece. Visual, rear view showing high-mounted engines. The twin turbofan engines are mounted high and far apart. Why? 3 reasons. Shielding from ground fire. Said infrared signature protect from debris during rough field operations. B, embedding engines near the fuselage spine. The tail structure masks exhaust heat from ground-based IR missiles. Compare this to the F-35 Lightning II, which prioritizes stealth shaping over physical shielding. Different mission, different optimization. Part 7, the trade-offs. A-10 is not fast. Top speed 706 km/h. Cannot penetrate advanced integrated air defense systems. It is not stealthy, and in modern peer conflict against advanced radar and long-range SAM systems it would struggle. So why keep it? Because in asymmetric warfare, Afghanistan, Iraq, it excels. Loiter time exceeds 90 minutes without refueling. Its straight wings generate high lift at low speed. Visual, airfoil cross-section, high camber profile, high aspect ratio wings. Reduce stall speed that allows tighter turns over the battlefield. Part 8, the killer chick phenomenon. Phrase killer chick reflects something cultural. Pilots, including female A-10 pilots, have demonstrated that effectiveness is not about brute force, it's about systems integration, discipline, and precision. The A-10 is not glamorous, but it is honest engineering. It does one job and does it exceptionally well. Part 9, the economics. An A-10 costs roughly $20 million per aircraft. Historical unit cost adjusted. An F-22 Raptor exceeds $150 million per unit, but cost must be measured against survivability and mission profile. Using a 5th-generation stealth fighter for low-altitude CAS is like using a scalpel to chop wood. Possible but inefficient. Part 10, the verdict. A-10 survives because its designers accepted physics. You cannot outrun every bullet, you cannot eliminate every threat, but you can distribute load paths, armor critical components, add redundancy, add weight penalty. It is not elegant. It is not stealthy. It is not the future of high-end warfare, but for close air support in low-intensity conflict. It remains unmatched until drones fully replicate human judgment, situation awareness, immediate adaptation under fire. The A-10 fills a niche, and engineering is about niches. Final thought. A-10 Warthog teaches an uncomfortable lesson. Technology does not always evolve toward complexity. Sometimes survival means embracing constraint. It is a flying embodiment of first principles. Accept that you will be hit, design anyway. And that might be the most honest form of engineering there is.